Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So, how are you today, students? So, I do believe that some of you have been checked their grades already, preliminary grades. So, congratulations to all of you. Okay? And if you notice, some of the students doesn't have their grade on the portal, so maybe you did not submit your preliminary permit. So that's the reason why. But don't worry, I'll be encoding your grades pagpasok ng midterm naman natin. Okay? So for today's lesson, we will be discussing about wines. So we've discussed already the different services inside the fine dining restaurant, the sequence of service, the types of table service, how you will serve wine, and so on and so forth. So now we will be specific with this topic, which we can consider on how you will be familiarized more when it comes to wines. Okay? So, everything naman na dinidiscuss natin today and also nung last session is i-apply natin sa inyong practical, no? Kung kailan man tayo nakaschedule for a face-to-face class again para ma-evaluate ko kayo, each student, no? If ever you understand well all the things that I am discussing to you. Okay? So, as part of the introduction, so when we say wines, a quick history lang, no? From archaeological records kasi, wines indicate that it can be red wine or white wine was first produced in China around 7000 BC before Christ, followed by the country of Armenia in Georgia. Okay, so around 6000 BC, respectively. Okay, and in fact, researchers discovered also the world's oldest winery in Armenia. Okay, so I want you to take down those information as part of just a bit history of the wines. Okay, so our LO or the learning objectives. At the end of the session, the students must be able to familiarize with wine, differentiate red wine to white wine, and also identify facts about wine. So let's start with the trivia. Okay, so we have the first question here. What is the biggest kind of wine bottle? Okay, do you have the idea of what is the size of a wine bottle? Okay, so if wala kayong idea with that, so the answer is it's called the Nebuchadnezzar and it holds 15 liters of wine, and that's the equivalent of 20 regular bottles in a single huge bottle. So it's too big. Okay, so try to imagine that one. And also, we have the second trivia. How many grapes does it take to make a standard bottle of wine? So the answer is about 200 grapes or 2.5 pounds of grapes. Okay, so what is the equivalent of 2.5 pounds? No, dami. Okay, so it takes at least one standard bottle of wine. Okay, so another trivia, how long after planting is a grapevine ready to make wine? Okay? So the answer is it takes about 3 to 5 years, no? So a long period of time talaga yung pag peppermint ng ating fruits, especially grapes, no? In order to create or to make a wine. So to start bearing fruit that can be made into wine, and after that, grapevines can usually bear fruit for another 40 years. Okay? So that's why this is the reason why some of the brand or types of wines are very expensive because of the process, no? The procedure na ginagawa dito. And hindi ito madali. Of course, we need to pay with the labor and so on. So, hindi lang naman usually ang reason ng mataas na price ng ating product, no? Regardless of whatever the product it is just the costing. Sometimes the labor, no? Kung paano to ginagawa, gaano katagal, gaano kabusisi. Okay? So, we have the description here. When we say red wine class, this is an alcoholic beverage made by fermenting the juice of dark skinned grapes. So red wine differs from white wine, of course, because its base material and production process. So magkaiba yung dalawa. Okay, but there are some materials din naman na they are the same but not necessarily magkatulad sila on how it is being created. So red wine is made with dark skin rather than light skin grapes. Okay? While white wine naman is a wine that is fermented without skin contact. Okay? So, kita niyo yung difference. Again, so white wine, it is fermented without the presence of the skin contact of that specific grapes. So the color can be straw yellow, yellow green, or yellow gold. So it is produced by the alcoholic fermentation of the non-colored pulp of grapes, which may have a skin of any color. So white wine has existed for at least 4,000 years. Okay? And we have also the facts about wines. So when we say facts is something to do with in Tagalog katotohanan, no? So let's explain this one, all those facts about wines. So red wine can only be made from blue or purple skin grapes, and white wine can also come from these darker grapes, but only if the juice is separated from the skins. Okay? The color of a wine is determined by the contact of the grape juice with grape skins. And there are a known 10,000 grape varieties throughout the world, and grapes are the most important commercially grown fruit in the world. So grape skins contain the bitter tannins which provide structure to a wine and help to preserve it. Okay, so nag-gets nyo ba yun? Okay. So as we can see on the first sentence here, the red wine daw can only be made from blue or purple skin grapes. Okay, so when it comes to color, take note of the color blue and the purple skin. So all of us are eating grapes na no? So nakikita nyo ba yung difference ng dalawa when it comes to their the outer appearance ng grapes? Merong blue, yung parang ano na siya. Are you familiar with the lumboy? Something that is blue pero may pagka-violet pa rin siya or purple color. So yun yung ginagamit natin for grapes. So I hope familiar kayo doon. Ayan, so white wine can also come from from the second sentence. Darker grapes but only if the juice is separated from the skin. So sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, sa paggawa ng red wine kasama si skin. Pero si white wine natin is yung extract or yung juice lang and then tinatanggal yung skin nun. Okay? So hindi siya sinasama as the ingredient of um, making a white wine. Okay? And then, madedetermine natin, of course, yung color. Ganun natin kadaling ma-check if this kind of grapes is pang red and pang white wine because of the color itself. So, sa white wine kasi, darker pa siya sa blue or purple. Mas strong pa yung color nito. Pero yung skin nga, hindi siya kasama. Okay? And, ayan. So, next natin about wines. Yeah. So we have one grape cluster equals one glass of wine. When we say one grape of cluster is, are you familiar with a garden? No. So yung garden, kung makikita ninyo yon, merong mga nakaseparate na spaces sa garden or rectangular spaces ng soil, no? And then, di ba may mga particulars lang na nakatanim doon. So, lahat lang ng pwedeng tumubo doon is, na grapes halimbawa ha, is equivalent lang siya for a glass of wine. Try to imagine, no? Isang, siguro 1 hectare, no? And then, lahat ng pwedeng tumubo doon na grapes is yun yung i-harvest and then pwede na siyang i-create as wine pero 1 glass lang, 'di ba? So napaka dami ng kailangan natin lalo na if we will sell one bottle, no? That's why it's very expensive. On average, there are about 75 grapes in each cluster, and champagne bottles are made from thicker glass to resist the pressure created by carbonation. Okay? So, yung mga champagne bottles natin considered siya to use the white wine glass or it can be the champagne flute which has the good or great material ng glass. Kasi may iba't iba tayong klase ng material ng glass. So, nagmamatter pala yung mga glasses to be used sa red wine or white wine. Depende sa pressure na meron sa content ng wine na yon. Okay? So, question, ba't may tendency po bang mabasag? Yes, definitely pwedeng mag-crack or pwede mag-chip ang glasses natin if we will not use the appropriate type of glass. And there are approximately 400 species of oak, but only 20 of them are used in making oak barrels. Okay? And there are usually 12 bottles in a case of wine. Are you familiar with oak, students? Not oats, ha? Are you familiar with that? Okay, so when we say oak kasi, sige, let's define that one. Let's search. When we say oak, yeah, so para mas malinaw sa'yo. So this is a tree that bears acorns as fruit and typically has lobe, no? And common in many temperate forests. And this is the important source of a hard and durable wood used chiefly in construction, furniture, and shipbuilding. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung 400 species natin is equivalent to pieces of woods coming from those trees. And then 20 of them are used in making oak barrels lang. Okay? So, this is also the material that is being used in making wines. Then grapes are the most planted fruit all over the world. Next is wine is made with grapes but not with the typical table grapes that can be bought at the supermarket. Again, this is the typical table grapes. Hindi ito yung usual na bibili natin sa palengke or sa supermarket and so on. Okay? So bottles with animal symbols on the label are known as critter wine. Okay? Ano ba pag sinabi natin critter or critter wine? So do you have the idea when we say critter? Yeah, so let's search on it. So when we say critters, no, it is something to do with a living creature, an animal, or a person of a particular kind. Okay? So, bottles with animal symbols on the label are known as critter wine. So, I want you to search those wines, no? Na merong symbols or tag or brand ng any creatures, or it can be, actually it can be a person, pero normally yung um animal yung parang pinaka ano niya, kumbaga sa ano is logo, something like that. And wine produced in warmer climates and generally sweeter. Okay, so we have also wine production uses yeast in its fermentation. Another fact is there is a stamp that certifies that the wine is biodynamic. Okay, so when we say biodynamic, okay, so search on that. So biodynamics are holistic, or it can be a ecological and ethical approach to farming, gardening, and food or nutrition. So this is an approach wherein this is something that is affiliated with our agriculture, um, ecological, gardening, farming, and so on. So they are associated with that. Champagne bubbles are formed in the bottle, and organic and natural wines come from unintervened vineyards, and the most commonly planted grape variety is the Cabernet Sauvignon. Okay, and lastly, horizontal storage is best for wine bottles. So, for your assignment, I want you to memorize all those facts about wines because we will use this one for introducing or while you are serving wine, you need to know some facts about this. Okay? So, at least five siguro, no, is ma-memorize ninyo. And we will be having our graded recitation sa next na pagkikita natin, next session. Okay? So, check also the classwork, no, sa Schoology natin because I'll be posting sit work for today. And then aside from memorizing at least five facts here is you need to answer also our sit work number two for this term. Okay, so this is the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening with our quick discussion, and I hope you learned something from today's lesson about familiarizing wine, its facts, and the difference between the red and the white wine. Okay, thank you and God bless everyone.